Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about an oil change on a 2016 BMW GSA. I'm not going to go into the oil and what I use, but this is what I use. I use liquid moly. I get the kit from actually Beamer Boneyard. Really simple and easy to order from, and they ship quick. So this is stuff I use. And I'm going to walk you through doing an oil change on a BMW. All right, stick around. All right, so the first thing for me is I always warm the bike up. I try to get the motor to the operating temperature. That way, I don't know, the oil comes out better. I don't know. It's just something I've always done. So just ran around the block, make sure I got it up over 160 degrees. So that part's ready. So for me, next thing is take the skid pan off. So I do have an aftermarket skid pan, so it's a little different, but this one takes a 10 millimeter for all 6 of these bolts. So I'm gonna pull it off here real fast. All right, so once that's off, next thing we do is just place my oil pan underneath the filter right here. Make sure it can catch the filter and the drain plug. Drain oil, simple. All right, so I got my drain plug tool ready. It's a Torx T55 for the drain plug. Got it above my pan, so we'll get that loose. So I always look at the drain plug. Some of them are magnetic, some of them are not. Just look, see what crud's around them. This actually looks pretty clean. I do change my oil every 5,000 miles, or if I'm getting ready to do a long trip, no matter what, if I'm gonna run past the 5,000, so I'll change it. So it's been changed a lot more than normal intervals, but to me, oil change is cheap and it's great for the bike. So I'm okay with $100 oil change. So that looks good. Set that aside. All right, so if you made it that far, then you've made it through the messy part. So I actually have this oil filter wrench. I actually bought it for one of my Harleys. Got a little notch out for the Harley, but it works on the BMW too. And I will say that oil change on this BMW is a lot easier than oil change on a Harley. So while that's drained out, get that cleaned up, let it drain a little bit more. I will tell you that normally when I do an oil change, I also service the rear end. I know the book doesn't call for it that often, but it's about 30 minutes. If you're interested in that, if you look, I've done a video on servicing the rear end. So I change the fluid and grease the drive shaft every time I change the oil. It's just great preventive maintenance, and it's really not that big of a deal. It takes me 30 minutes. So we're gonna clean this up and then get ready to put it back together. All right, stick around. All right, while the oil's still draining and that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this panel off so I can change the air filter out. So that takes a Torx 25 bit. I'm gonna start down here with these two. And you got 3 up here. I will say I used to run a GV tank bag that had a tank lock, and one of the reasons I went away from that was because I had to pull those off to get this panel off, and I don't know, I just don't like taking screws in and out all the time. I don't know. And then I ended up going to, I like the Moscow Moto bag because it has water in it. Yeah, but. So the one in the middle is a little more difficult to get to because I have bar risers and I have the bars rocked back a little bit. Make it a little more comfortable for me to stand up on, but it's okay. I was able to turn it, turn the handlebars and get to it. I'll get that out here in a second. Kind of scary at first, but that's it. Now there's 4 bolts right here, and I believe those are also Torx 25. You'll find the more you work on your bike, Torx 25 takes all this body work off, and it's actually laid out pretty good and makes it pretty simple. I keep a Torx 25 and a 50 and a 55, I think, in my toolkit because I want to be able to pull the wheels off and things like that. Like I said, I get my oil change kit from the folks at Beamer Boneyard. I'm not kind of why I keep mentioning them. It is what it is, but they're just easy to order off of and quick. I assume RevZilla and all those guys would be too, but I know I kind of got hooked on Beamer Boneyard for this kind of stuff, and then they deliver fast. And I change my oil and order a new kit, so I always have an oil change kit in stock. And the kit, depending on which one you get, comes with oil filters, air filters. They give you multiple O-rings for the rear end, as well as all the filters you need. And it's a good little kit. And like I said, all the Harleys I've had over my life and have, I spend $120 servicing those things, so spending the same to service this thing doesn't bother me at all. And that liquid moly, it's full synthetic, just good oil. All right, so I had to wrestle with that a little bit, but the air filter nestles right down in there, sits in there. It's fairly clean. Air box looks a little clean, a little bit of dust in there, little things. I'll get that cleaned out. But we will put a new one on because we have it. So there's that. All right, so you got this little, I don't know, carrier holder or whatever. It's got a couple hooks on it. The filter just drops down inside there. And you see they kind of hold the filter from coming up. So that's real simple. And then it's just going to drop right down in there. You're ready to put your lid back on. There we go. Now the 4 longest ones. These just get snugged up, man. This isn't a load-bearing bolt by any stretch of the imagination, so don't get carried away with these little things. Alright, wipe that down a second here, be fun. Remember, your longest out of all these goes in the middle up front here. The rest of them are all the same size. This long one. This is what I did before. The easiest thing to get to. Alright, so before I put my filter on, number one, I always clean around where the old filter was, make sure there's no debris, make sure the filter ring off the old filter is not stuck to it. And then I always put some oil in the filter too. So this is what was left over from last time. So I put oil in that filter and then put a little bead of oil around the O-ring. I don't know if you can see that, but I do that. And then we're just gonna spin it on. Once it makes contact, you need about 3/4 of a turn, and you're good. All right. I have a rag somewhere. So I'm gonna clean it up and put my drain plug back in. So again, about the kit that I buy, this is the filter box that comes in, and it comes with an O-ring for the drain plug taped to the top of it. I mean, they do a really good job of taking care of you. So every time, get a new O-ring. Old plug, old O-ring, new plug, new O-ring. All right. Clean it off real good. All right, ready to put oil back in. All right, so when you remove the cap, there's rubber O-ring that goes right there. So I replaced that too because my kit comes with another rubber O-ring. So I'm gonna replace that rubber O-ring with that. And then I'll be ready to start it and let it sit for a minute and check the oil level. I put about 3.5 quarts in it, and we'll start it, let it run for a minute, and then check it and make sure we top it off. But for all intents and purposes, we're done. All right, a couple last things. Number one, be responsible with your oil. Your used oil is what I'm talking about. I take mine out of my drain pan and I dump them back into the original containers. All right, and then I can take that to AutoZone or one of those places and they can dispose of it properly. This isn't the old days where you just dump it by a tree in the backyard. All right. Second thing is the importance of a manual. So in through here, I get all my torque specs, I get everything I need. And if I question anything, it's in the manual, right? So 20 bucks, 30 bucks, whatever it was, that really helps a lot. So that is a simple oil change. I didn't do the plugs this time. When I do order my kit, again, I use that Beamer Boneyard, but it doesn't matter. I always buy the 24,000 mile kit, and that gets me all the gaskets and spark plugs and everything, so I always have them. So it's time to order another one. I'm ready for another 5,000 miles. All right, thanks for watching. And if you liked this video, thought it was helpful, give me a thumbs up, let me know in the comments, and please subscribe. Thanks, have a good day.